Hi there, I'm Mark Morash, Merola class of 1987 and Director of Musical Studies of the Merola Opera Program for 22 years. I first got interested in opera mostly through my fascination with singers. When I got to undergraduate school, I was only about 3 or 4 days into my first year when singers started asking me to play their voice lessons. And I went in and heard them sing and thought, this has to be for me. I always played the piano, practically always. I started playing, I think, when I was about 3 years old. My mother played piano by ear, and my older brother was already taking piano lessons. So I would just sit down at the piano and start plunking out notes and finding things, and it never left me. I just started there with playing by ear and picking things up, and then started in lessons and never stopped playing. As far as conducting, I think one of the times that I really got interested in conducting is when I was doing my master's degree at University of Michigan. And I wound up as part of my teaching assistantship having to play for conducting classes with Gustav Meyer at University of Michigan. And his conducting students would conduct, and what they were conducting was a 2-piano reduction of various orchestra scores. And I got really fascinated hearing what he had to say, watching the conductors and what he was telling them to work on. And I think that was really one of my greatest inspirations for thinking this would be really fun to be a conductor. And I learned so much playing there as the teaching assistantship. I learned so much about conducting from Gustav Meyer. I think the single biggest highlight of my summer at Merola was when I was in the prompt box for the Merola Grand Finale, which was called the Merola Grand Finals at that time. But there was about 2 or 3 numbers that needed to have a prompter. And that was the one and only time that I ever sat in a proper prompt box in my life. I've done a little bit of prompting here and there since then, but it's never been a big focus of my career. But that was so fun, being in the prompter's box and getting this much of the singers in front of you, and you have the conductor here, and you have your stand in there, and you have about this much room around you, and you're looking up at the singers, and you really see the whites of their eyes. It was brilliant. I loved it. I've told this story many times, but Merola was simply a turning point in my life. I went to Merola, and I realized after Merola that there was just nothing else I wanted to do, that it was absolutely, my life had to be full of opera. It was amazing. When I got to Merola, I couldn't believe that there were all these fantastic singers. One singer after another would come in to sing. There was 4 apprentice coaches at that point, and we each had 5 singers. There was 20 singers in the program. And you were assigned 5 singers, and every one of my 5 came in and were astounding. And then I heard the other 15 with the other 3 pianists, and they were all amazing. It's just like I'd never been surrounded by such capacity for singing as I was that summer, and it completely just altered my universe. There's so many fantastic memories from my time working at Merola, working at the Opera Center. A lot of it has to do with various productions that we did that were so much fun. The Rake's Progress was a brilliant production in 2018, working with Robin Guarino. And I'll never forget Ki Hoon Yoon as Johnny Skiki in 2014, up there in his leisure suit. His running suit was fantastic. Postcard from Morocco, working with Peter Cazares. All the fantastic people, all the fantastic singers. Every summer would be 23 new singers who were just, dreams to work with. It's really hard in all that time to put your finger on a single thing. And I have to say also a personal highlight for me was doing Albert Herring, when I had my daughter in the cast singing one of the kids in the show. That was a real thrill for me. I think you have to remember in a career that things are always changing. There's no real point of arriving. It's always going to be different. There's going to be ups and downs in careers. There's going to be times when you're really hot and times when you're not. But that's all part of the deal. it's just the way it rolls. It's just going to be in fits and starts. And you have to know to relax in the low parts and then you can enjoy the high parts a lot more. Well, during the pandemic, I found out that I'm very fond of gardening, but it has to be in my own yard. I don't think I want to garden anybody else's yard, but sitting back and watching my flowers grow and picking off dead buds and watching a rose come out hour by hour, all those things have been a real thrill for me when you have to spend a lot of time in your backyard. So I've really grown to love gardening and finding out a lot more about plants than I knew before. Coffee. I'm currently working at Calgary Opera in Canada for this coming season, and I'm up there. So you can keep an eye on the Calgary Opera website to see what interesting activities are going on there. I'm a sporadic Facebook poster, so do look for me on Facebook, and maybe you'll get lucky and I'll actually delve into my social media as I should.